Great. Now, I would like to show you how you can actually put multiple lines of code within your conditional. All our examples until now only had one line, but let's do a new example. So let's look at this carefully. We have 6 lines of code here. On line 1, we establish a variable called Rupert, which is 7. We then say on line 2, if Rupert is less than 10. Is Rupert less than 10? It is. So we now process the following 3 lines, top down. We will print Rupert to the screen. So what's it going to print? 7. We then override Rupert and say Rupert now is a nickname for 5 instead. On line 5, we say p Rupert. What's that going to do? It's going to print what to the screen? 5, and then we end. So if we run this, we could see our prediction was correct, and it prints out 7 and 5 to the terminal. So there's nothing to stop us from putting tons and tons of lines of code within our conditionals. What happens if I don't put the end there? What do you think will, just not that you know, but guess. What do you think might happen?
Error.
It's a pretty good guess. Let's see. We get an error. This is an error you're going to see so many times. But you don't have to tear your hair out if you understand what it is. So here we have, now this is interesting. This is a little tricky. Because what line does it tell us is problematic? It tells us line 5 is problematic. And this is one of the few exceptions where, well, let's get to the next part first. So what does it say? Syntax error, unexpected end of input, expecting keyword end. That is a very long-winded way to say you're missing an end. You're missing an end. Now, why does it say that our problem is on line 5? The way I understand it is that it's basically saying, hey, I got to the end of line 5. I don't see any more code. I want to see an end. I don't see it. So it's sort of, when Ruby wants to see something and doesn't see it, it's hard to express what line is problematic, because it's not really a line of code that's problematic. It's what is absent from your code, which is problematic. And since Ruby has to put down some line number, it puts down the last number that it executed and wants to see an end but doesn't see it. Does that make sense? So this is, in 99% of cases, the line number is more useful. This is one of those cases of where the line number might throw you off a little bit, but at least you know what to look for. When it says expecting keyword end, the light bulb should immediately go off in your mind saying, okay, I am missing an end somewhere in my code. It is very common to forget to put an end in your code where it should be. So this, like I said, is an error message that you'll see a lot of. Yeah.
So is end normally required just in general, or is it specific?
End is specific to, this is the first time we didn't need end yesterday at all,
Right.
but for conditionals, every conditional needs to end with an end. We'll see other concepts that also need an end, but this is the first, conditionals is the first concept that we've encountered in this class that needs an end. Does that answer?
Yes.
Yeah. Great question. Other questions? Yeah.
So a conditional is when you put that less than sign?
Yeah, so really, I sort of refer to this whole structure as a conditional, but really it's the concept of that I have like an if. When I say if, I'm saying there's a condition. If this condition is true, then do something. We were checking if Rupert is less than 10 or greater than 10. What if I wanted to check if it is equal to 10? So what would you guess I would do for that? If you just took a random stab in the dark. Yeah?
This is just based off the syntax I saw for a different language a while back, but I think you'd use 2 equal signs instead of just 1.
Yeah, so Shane is right. We actually use 2 equals, use a double equal sign. And this code doesn't run because Rupert is not equal to 10, but let's change Rupert to 10. Now it runs. Can anyone, that's a tricky question, can anyone guess why we're using a double equals as opposed to single equals?
So
Use single with variables to define the variable.
Yeah, I think I'm hearing a bunch of people once. If some of you may be saying the same thing. Yeah, but I definitely heard some of you say this. The single equal sign is already used up for the concept of setting a variable. So on line 1, we can see an example of that. Rupert equals 10. A single equals is a way to create a variable. But to check for equality, to check in a condition, to see if something equals something else, for that we use double equals.